Hello, my name is Wakata, and welcome back to Pixel Perfect, episode 61. Now, today's going to be a little bit of a deviation from our usual thing. We've been working on turbo motors lately, but it is the season, holidays and whatnot, and of course, the Fixmas event has been going on. And obviously, we haven't done anything Fixmas related this year because we did it last year on the same safe, and we can't re-unlock everything that's already been unlocked. However, it is a Fixmas time, and not everybody who is watching this series was watching it back when we did this before. So what I wanted to do today is to kind of keep this a little bit short because I realize this is releasing on Christmas Day, and you might have family obligations and who knows what else you might want to be doing that maybe you don't want to sit down for a full-length episode, and I understand that, and that's perfectly fine. We're not going to do a whole lot of new stuff. We're not going to work on turbo motors, like I said. But we're going to go over to the Dunes Desert and basically spend all of our time over there because we have, of course, our space elevator stuff that we've been doing over there. And I would like to do a little walkthrough of our Fixmas area, which is the tree farm and Santa's workshop. Plus, we left in kind of a mess last year, and I can't believe it's already been a year. So we need to clean it up a bit, and there's a small expansion I want to do to it that we can do as part of this episode. So I'm going to hop on the train and head over to the Dunes Desert, and I'll catch you guys there. Alright, it looks like the train is fully stocked. I'm not too worried about our inventory. I think I said we were going to meet at the Dunes Desert. Real quick, however, before we leave, because I was doing this and I realized there was a small upgrade I made between episodes. I just kind of want to show you guys because I like to keep you up and abreast of the changes, even on things that we have already established. And that would be this little exit right here. We made this little spiral at some point, which fixed a ton of problems we had here at home with congestion of trains getting deadlocked. However, I noticed that we still had one from the middle, that needed to go to that side of the map. And that could, in a rare case, if all the trains show up at the same time, could still cause a deadlock. And that was because, if we get a little signal here, this segment right here is not long enough, the bright red one there, is not long enough for a full train to park in it while other trains are coming through. And that would mean that he couldn't leave the station, which meant other trains that were waiting to come in could not get into the station, and that would cause a deadlock. Now I know that this segment here is also too small, but this isn't an active train station, right? This is our personal train station. That's not a problem. So what I did is I carefully drew a little way around and melded it with the downward spiral. And now that one train, when it comes in, it takes that as a shorter route. So now we have added efficiency, and it no longer passes in front of all the other trains, no longer having the potential for a deadlock. And so far, from my watching it, we've had no problems. Again, it was really rare anyway, but it still could happen. And of course, I will keep an eye out, and if we need to make modifications in the future, then we'll make them in the future. But it's always a little bit of a work in progress, and I think that this is hopefully going to solve the problem. All right, let's get to the Dunes Desert because we want to keep this a relatively short episode for today. So real quick, as we're approaching this area, forgive the mess. I've been ramping some things up, and that's the whole point, right? As part of the thing that we're going to do today is we're going to clean up the holiday area. Finally, once and for all, we're going to clean it up. And so, it's a bunch of temporary stuff out there, and that's always been a thing. And I've always been bad about cleaning up temporary things, but yeah, that's, I hope, part of my charm. All right, this should be dropping off some stuff for the space elevator. We're going to do a little bit of space elevator stuff real quick, before we do the tour of the Santa's workshop, and then a little, just small expansion, very, very almost trivial expansion of it. Just some stuff that's being done internally that we kind of need an external component to. So I think we're gonna do a little like a little storage shack, I think, outside. We'll make sure this is all coming out. Okay. So we have completed our with the electromagnetic control rods, I believe. Is that? Yes. Okay. So we needed 4,000 of those. Let's look at the little spreadsheet real quick, just real fast. So electromagnetic control rods, we needed 4,000 of those. And since that's done, we can now move on to the versatile framework. We're going to use an alternate recipe. This is going to take 3 items, which means we're going to need to use manufacturers. And it's going to require 5,000 modular frames, 30,000 steel beams, and 40,000 rubber. Now we've got these 2 on hand. However, we don't actually have the 5,000 modular frames. But that's not an issue. We have come prepared for that, or at least modularly prepared. As you can see, all the stuff that's being brought out, these are steel pipes amongst other things, and some reinforced plate. We're going to make some modular frames here while we're doing the next part of the elevator. And so, what is going to be stored here? These will be the modular frames when they get here, assuming that we didn't already store them somewhere else. Doesn't look like it. Nope. All right. And this is going to be... Oh, okay, we did have modular frames in 2 places. Okay, well then we have an extra. We'll just do this as a anything. This way it's a kind of an overflow. Go to the top. In case something ever gets delivered that doesn't belong here, the line doesn't back up. And so this can be a dumping site. All right, so I think we're good here. And we do have a bunch of modular frames, but at home we're not making a huge surplus of them. And it's just faster for us to just make new ones here. Yeah, let's see here. So these will be the modular frame locations. Let's see here. Da-da-da-da. Modular frame. We're going to go with this recipe right here. We're going to copy. And we're going to make 3,000 of them. So that means exactly 1,000 cycles of this. So 2,000 reinforced plate and 10,000 steel pipe, all of which should be on their way. Let's paste these. And then let's run over here to the manufacturers and let's set the recipes for the versatile framework. Using the modular frames, the rubber, and the steel beams. Copy, paste, paste, paste. And this should already, it's all set up to route out to somewhere, so we always have storage ready. Let's cut this off so it doesn't go somewhere else. And over here we should have the 4,000, you see there, dismantle mode, 4,000 of the electromagnetic control rods. I'm going to disconnect this. That way we can just leave it here because it's going to be part of the final recipe. We need to store it somewhere. We'll just store it right there because we can export them around and back to the machines once we're ready to do the final product, which would be the magnetic field generators. That is not something for today. So let's get the steel pipes and the reinforced iron plate flowing. This should be... There it is. And we'll have a lot more. As you can see, the train has stopped by to drop off more stuff. And it's just going to keep doing its circuit for now. And I don't really care which one is going in where. Both going to the same place. And we need this to be... That's the reinforced plate, so this needs to be the steel pipe. It is. And I've already pre-masked all this, so I'm not worried about, waiting until... Stop, 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 stop. Okay. That would not have ended well. Okay, okay. So we have, hopefully, had a full stack. So that's 11. We'll come back later once this fills up and check out the full numbers, make sure this didn't come from our inventory or we didn't lose some of them to our inventory. I don't know if we had a full stack or not. But once all of them are arrived, there will be 2,000 of them because we're going to make 3,000. That'll give us our 5,000 total. So it'll be super easy to double check that. This is what we needed to have go over there. All right. And we're not in a hurry for these to be made because we will have, these frames already here that can be working as part of the process. But now that we're not sure about the numbers because some could have melded with our inventory, before we start that process, I want to see them all delivered. That way I can see that we have exactly 2,000. But that's fine. While these things get started, we can start working on Santa's workshop and our little tour. Oh, look at all the mess. Yeah, last year we were kind of in a hurry to make fireworks, so all this was the fireworks setup. We can clean out all of this, which we're going to do. Clean all that out, and oh, looks like this is done. So this is all actual snow. I wanted 3 of these containers worth because snowballs are a 3-to-1. And let's disconnect. And disconnect. We're going to set these to snowballs. We do have some snowballs in a single half-height storage somewhere else. But, this year I wanted to kind of double everything up, just to give our machines something to do. And that will complete the cleanup. Just a little skip there. And by the way, there is a visual glitch, and I've not seen this before. But as you can see, when we cursor over what we would get if we dismantle this, these items are not actually on the belt. This is a visual glitch. So there might be some on that one. Can we not change this one over? So what we like to do is we turn them on to that recipe just to get the items off the belt. You see that one was already empty. So even though it's showing on the belt, there is nothing there. All right, let's grab this one. It's the snowballs. And if we forget to convert something back to snowballs, it's not a big deal. Okay. Dump our inventory. And let's reconnect these in the opposite order. Let's see what happens when the new product meets the belts that have Phantom product on them. Yeah, there we go. Just clears it right out. Okay, excellent. So we're going to let this run. Again, we were talking about cleaning up the yard, and here we are using, all this space for manufacturing still. This will be the last thing that we'll clean up. But we will come back and we will clean it up as well. All right, that's enough fluffing around with machines for now. Today's episode was supposed to be focused on the tour of the Fixmas area and a small upgrade. And, we wanted to keep this relatively short, and we've been burning time. So let's get to it real quick like here. Of course, when you're talking about Fixmas, you have to talk about presents and the supplying of presents to machinery, which are inside the Santa's workshop. But let's start with the presents. If you are not familiar with the Fixmas event, the primary way of getting your gifts are from these gift trees. They produce 15 gifts per minute, and they come out of a little conveyor hidden underneath the tree branches. And you can see here what we've done is we've tucked them down under the ground. But we didn't want to just have some trees lying around. No, we want to theme this area. And if you are familiar with what it's like to live up in the snowy areas in the north, or I guess south of the equator, it is not unusual for us to have large tree farms that you can go to and pick out your Christmas tree. And of course, in this case, Fixmas tree. And I see some baddies walking around there, so let's get moving. And a lot of times it's just a tree lot where you can just walk around in it, but sometimes they get a little more industrial and you can drive around in them. And yeah, this would be a pretty nice tree lot to be stocked this well with gigantic trees. But that's what we've done here. We've set this up to be a tree lot to where you can be driving up and down and pick out a tree, for whatever you want to have, in your home. Hopefully you have a really large home if you're going to fit this large of a tree. And there are some open spots to represent trees that have already been chosen and cut down. And it's nice and white here because there's no longer a tree blocking the snow coming down. And you can see it's brown on the ones where the trees are still at because they've been blocking the snow. And on the road, it's a little bit muddier. It's not so nice because people have been walking up and down and driving up and down it. And just nice little story building there, a little lore. And if you drive the right way, because there was a sign on the ground that we passed showing the direction, you'll see every now and then there is a snowman facing the right direction. You should be approaching from that way. And you imagine this is employees who are having a little bit of fun while they're waiting for other people to come and pick out trees. And so it's just a few rows of these, but this is not random. While the holes are kind of semi-random just to distribute them a little bit more, there's actually an exact number of trees in each row because of math. And again, there's some random spots just to make it look like it's not as organized as it is. And it looks really good. If you take a look at it from the sky, it doesn't look like it's that few, right? It really takes up some space. Plus, with the spacing out there helps a lot. And get a little bit of decorations around there, and we put some hills there to kind of obscure the fact that we're out in the middle of a desert, and a little immersion doesn't hurt anything. But let's get to touring Santa's workshop. Now, of course, this was inspired by a winter cabin, and we had to bring it up a little bit large scale for the ability to fit everything inside it. And of course, it is supposed to be, Santa's workshop, so it should be a little bit bigger. And of course, outside we have little snow drifts, snowmen and whatnot to greet us coming in, some trees and decorations, candy cane striped pillars. And you can see a red light in there. If it were nighttime, it would look a little bit more like a glow. It's supposed to be like a fire and a hearth. And that was actually a little challenging because we have to do a false wall there and hide the lights. And it came out really good. And we have gigantic doors here, and there's a reason for that. We'll go over that in just a moment. But before we go inside, you can see we have some conveyors running across the front. And this is supposed to kind of give life to it. Like the elves are inside, and they're making toys and ornaments and everything. And this is just, you get a little bit of a window of product that happens to be moving around the belt to different areas. Now, in reality, this isn't actually going anywhere, and there's a false wall behind there as well to kind of hide the magic so that if you look at it from the front, you don't see into the machinery. So let's go inside real quick and we'll show that little trick what we've done here. And as you can see, behind the false wall, we have a couple of containers, one for each material that we're going to send outside, and just a few in there, just enough to complete the loop. And what we've done is we've set up a little splitter here and a merger, so you can see it coming in, going through, and splitting out, and it splits out in both directions, and it depends on the item and the spacing we want in the item. So in this case, we have a three-way splitter going. So one is going outside, the other two are just cycling back. And what that does is it spreads out the items on the belt. Makes it look a little bit better. It's not all clumped up. These would overlap. Just wouldn't look so good. And with the ability to set the amount of belts we have on the splitter, we can adjust how close we want the items. We have these a little bit closer to each other because the ornaments are not as large. And that just allows us to influence the effect that we get to see on the outside. And of course, we do the same over here for the other items. And this, of course, is the building proper. I probably should have put a roof in here, but it makes it a little easier for me to get around when I was working on it. And we're going to start with a thing. This is new. If you saw this last year when we built it, there was a kind of a thing I was goofing around with. And to be honest, it was silly. The idea was silly, and I thought, there's no way I can make this look right, because we are in, of course, vanilla. There are no decorative mods or micro mods or anything like that in here. So all I have are the basic blocks to work with. But I wanted to give it a try anywhere. And what am I talking about? It's that thing in the background. So I'm staying away from it for a reason, because it is silly, it is hokey, and but I tried it anyway and kept trying it and kept trying it, and just have a little fun with it. Now this hallway here, the purpose to it is that it is the runway for Santa's sleigh. We figure that the factory is making all the toys, and the sleigh would be at the back where you would load up all the gifts, and they would get a running start, and then the gigantic doors so that he can just fly on out and start delivering his gifts. So let's actually kind of fly backwards here, approach this from the back. Again, this is terrible. This is terrible. I don't think it's great, but it's fun, and it's fun to just to goof around sometimes. So this was my attempt using basic parts in the game to make a Santa's sleigh. Ta-da! So, we have the seated area, which is brown for being leather, and then, of course, it's supposed to be a little slope, and have the front on it. In the back where you can put some presents. I would like to put more presents down, but it gets to a point to where when you're dropping items, they start to merge, and you see there was 5s and 2s, and so this is kind of the most I can get, and it still looks all right. And we have some candy canes in the back to give a little bit of shape to it, and we have, the rails on the front that slope upwards. And then, of course, we have the reins and the harnesses for the 12 reindeer. Now, I suppose I probably should have them merged at the front for Rudolph. I didn't really consider that. But, Rudolph doesn't have to be in there every year, right? It's not always a blizzard. Global warming. And we gave him a steering wheel in case the reins aren't working too well. Yeah, it's silly. It's silly, but it's fun. And, I just kept adding a little thing here and there and tweaking a thing. And you know what? I like it. I'm not ashamed. I like it. It's not meant to be serious. And I appreciate it. I think it's fun. But, let me know. Let me know what you think of it. And especially with the little reindeer sleigh harnesses. I had so much fun with that. All right. Let's quickly do the tour. This is, of course, a functional factory. It is huge, but it is extremely compact because the primary focus on this was form before function, which is backwards for a lot of things. We try to do 50-50 most of the time. But let's go down here real quick. And remember, we have 4 belts coming in of $750 for the gifts, and we do 2 belts on either side. And what they're going to do is they're going to go into the ground floor. We start off with our red and our blue ornaments. And we have 2 floors of that. The floor above us are red, and down here are red. And that's because we need a lot of red. And the same goes for blue on the other side. And those will actually go forward. The floor above, which does red as well, will come back down right there. And, well, not right there. Those are gifts coming back down. They come back down on the corners right there. And they meld and they come back through and they go to the next room where we make our copper bulbs. Right there they are. And that's because, the red goes into the copper. Of course, on the other side, we're doing the same. Blue goes to the iron ornaments. And both of which can come along and meld on the end to make the ornament bundles. You can see going through here, it's all very packed in. Bright, rich colors. I love this. It's so beautiful. And that allows us to get all the bulbs done basically on the bottom floor. If we move up a floor, we have a bunch of other things that are going on. So we have more gifts that are coming through, and they are allowing us to make the trees here, or the branches. And on the other side, again, it's all kind of in parity. We will make our candy canes. And on the other side of the wall is the second floor of the red bulbs, and the same goes for the blue. Then they all come together and they go up to the top floor, the loft, which is the only place we actually have a window going outside to look at the desert. And these come together with the bulbs and the branches to make our decorations, our little wreaths. And again, some very nice coloring. Everything is very compact. And we fly all the way down to the end. The candy canes come up. The candy canes actually travel along under the glass walkway. You see them right there? That is so cool. I really like that. It's it's nice. It's visible, not in the way. Just and then it pops up where we need it. And finally, we make the stars. You can see we are set up over here to be able to sync them. But for now, I have them just sitting idle because I didn't want to use up the gifts while we were doing all of the snowballs and whatnot. But I can start cycling some of them again now that we are no longer making the real snow. But that's that's a quick interior view of everything for the primary factory, and we always have a storage somewhere for everything just in case we decide we need it for something. And we do have a little side annex, which is not part of the main manufacturing, and in fact is not actually balanced out at all. And it's also the other reason why we had those idle, because we need those gifts for making the rockets or the fireworks. As you can see, we are shy on making branches for that because it's not coming off of the main branch line. And ignore these belts, these are temporary belts. Whoa! There goes a firework outside the building. And this is what we're going to center our creation for today, our little build. And that is to actually give a little place to store the fireworks proper. So we'll probably just go out the back, and I think we're going to build a little shed out back. Let me get the building. I want to get this built out there so that we can get things cleaned up and do a final look around with, the place looking proper and clean. So I will catch you in a bit. All right, surprise time lapse. It's been a while since we got to do one of those. It felt pretty good. Um, yeah, I think we're pretty much cleared up here. Everything is done. All we gotta do really is clean up things. And in case you're not aware, when fireworks go on belts, they do this. They're gigantic and they float above them. So until we get all the stock moved, it's gonna look like that. So it's just kind of funny. Don't worry about it though. It'll clean up. It'll all go inside, and we won't have to worry about it anymore. And yeah, this came out great. We put some trees here because it is a good wood shed, like I said. Everyone dropped some wood and some dead leaves. I guess they're not very dead looking. Out front, just to give it a little bit of life, and a nice little light here for nighttime stocking wood or getting wood for the fire. Yeah, and a little trail here. I imagine this is the closest I could get for a foot trail that's been worn out from walking. And we could probably put some more trees along this way. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not, but that's just kind of connected to this. And I think that's about it. I didn't show you guys this in the review here. I don't believe. Just a little side area we can walk around. If they're I imagine if their families visiting the workshop, or dignitaries or whoever would be up in the North Pole visiting the shop, they can come around here. Nice little area, to a little winter wonderland to walk around in. I really enjoy it. I like the way this came out. But now it's time for the great cleanup. Everything has got to go, or mostly, as much as we can actually fit reasonably. And the area's been repopulated, so we need to get off the ground. And let's do this. Let's set aside some containers because we're gonna have a bunch of stuff that just needs to be sorted out or deleted, sent to the sink. So first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a couple of them out here in the sand to remind us that these are the personal ones, and then we're going to just make a bunch of them here. Whatever, just we want space. That's all we need. And I'm making extra ones because we're not going to have personal inventory to build them in just a moment. And I'm going to start cleaning all of this up. Not going to do it probably in real time. Let's do it kind of in a high speed. But first, before I do that, I wanted to show you, again, the new feature is the ability to delete blueprints. So if we are on the delete thing and we switch the mode, look at that. Highlights the entire blueprint. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, such a welcomed feature. But we did finish out all the snowballs. I processed the extra snow that we had, just to clear it all out. But let's get to cleaning. Let's do this kind of a high speed. And there it is, in all its beautiful glory, with all that yard trash cleaned up. Well, I mean, almost, right? There are a few containers left. They were way too full for me to move quickly. I mean, look at this. I know we put all those storage containers over there, and I did fill up one or two of them, but that was more than I wanted to spend the time to remove. So what I'm going to do here is actually expand a little bit on this territory. Material, that's good enough. It gives us a better open space here. I like that better. And we're just gonna do this. Out of material. Story of my life. Okay. Well, at least we can start something up. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna drain them. We don't need them. Yeah, we'll just let them go, and I'll just come back and I'll deal with them later. Not worried about it. But that's gonna be it for the Fixmas tour. Let's head back home and wrap this up. All right, here we are back at home, and time to wrap this up. You said we wanted to keep this kind of short. I don't know if I made the mark or not. Probably not. But I just want to wish everybody, happy holiday and Merry Christmas. And thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for being around this year and, following the series. And if you're new, then welcome. I hope that I can continue to entertain you in the next year. I don't know if we will have another episode before New Year's. We'll see how things go. We'll probably have a live stream, but it may not be satisfactory. But be sure to leave a like on the way out if you enjoyed this. And stop by the comment section and say hello or Merry Christmas or whatever you would like. It's always appreciated to hear from you guys. It doesn't have to be anything meaningful other than just a hello. But that's going to be all for now. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future episode. If you enjoyed this, you may want to check out one of these other videos, and thank you very much for your time.